A Muslim American woman, a Democrat running for U.S. Senate in Arizona, barraged with hate-filled comments on Facebook because of her religion. But none of that could stop Deidre Abboud.
The journey that I have decided to take on today is not just for the people who look like me or sound like me, but for all Arizona.
Well, the candidate defended by someone that you might not expect, her opponent. And joining me now is Senate candidate Deidre Abboud. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm great, and I'm so happy that you came on. I want to read part of your Facebook post, and you write in part this. You said, the Founding Fathers decreed that this nation would separate church and state, and in doing so protect both institutions. Government would be free from religious overreach, and religion would be free from government interference. Can you tell us a little bit about these online attacks that you have received since posting that?
It actually started before I posted that. It started on a video similar to the one that you showed. And not sure why it suddenly ramped up, but 2 days ago it really started becoming one comment a minute.
Before we move on and talk about it, I thought it was extraordinary. And I shouldn't say extraordinary because it's the right thing to do. Maybe in this environment it's extraordinary. But Senator Jeff Flake, the man whose job you're seeking, you're running against him, he tweeted, "Hang in there, Deidre. Sorry you have to put up with this. Lots of wonderful people across Arizona. You'll find them." What's your reaction to his support?
I appreciate any elected leader, and Flake also, for calling out this kind of rhetoric and these attacks on constituents, our fellow Americans. I appreciate that he did that, and we need to see more of that from our elected leaders. We're in the place that we're in today because a lot of our elected leaders make the comments. The rest of our elected leaders are not calling them out, and the rest of society isn't making a decision. Is this us or is it not us?
Yeah. The alt-right has shown up at some of your campaign events. Talk to us about that. Did you expect it?
I came in this with full eyes. I knew that this was exactly what I was going to pull out of the woodwork, and I want to pull it out of the woodwork because we need to have a conversation about whether or not those people represent America. I don't believe they do, and I believe the majority of Americans don't believe they do either. When the alt-right decided to come to our event, we asked the police to let them stay and have their hour of freedom of speech, and also to show them that they're not going to intimidate us. After an hour, the police told them they needed to go to public space. That's how we deal with bullies. That's how we show them they're not going to make us put our head down.
I also want to ask you about reports that President Trump has been speaking to and recruiting prospective Republican candidates to challenge Senator Jeff Flake in the primary. What do you think about that?
I think that the administration needs to worry about what's going on with the administration and let Arizona decide who their next senator needs to be.
What would you tell others who are thinking of running for office or maybe just exercising their civic rights, but they may be afraid of facing this type of abuse online and even in person because it could translate into a real-life incident?
Muslims may be the flavor of the day, but we're not the only flavor on the menu. Every community that can be marginalized or chose as an other gets these same attacks. If you're going to run for a political office, you better have a thick skin. You better be willing to deal with bullies. If you're not wanting to run for office, you still need to deal with bullies because they're in the grocery store. And it's time we as Americans stood up and said, that's not us.
Deidre Abboud, thank you. Best of luck to you. And again, I'm sorry this happened to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to bring in now Dean Obadala. He's a host of SiriusXM and opinion contributor to CNN.com, who posted a commentary today about this incident, and CNN political commentator Andre Bauer. Good evening, gentlemen. She's very well-spoken.
Hello, Don.
Very smart lady there. Dean, I know you feel strongly about this. What's your reaction to what you just heard?
I thought she was great, and I must say, I have never praised a Republican before, ever, on CNN, so wake up, Wolf Blitzer. This is breaking news, my friend. This is big. And Jeff Flake did the right thing. Jeff Flake did what everyone should do, is a profile in leadership.
When I said it was extraordinary, it really shouldn't be extraordinary. It's what everyone should do.
But in today's climate, it actually is. Because you know what? There are parts of the Republican base that are going to be upset that Jeff Flake spoke out against anti-Muslim bigotry. When you have Donald Trump, as I put in my article, A Tale of Two Republicans, Flake stands up against bigotry. Donald Trump spewed bigotry against Muslims during the campaign, from Islam hates us, to thousands of Muslims cheered in New Jersey on 9/11, which was a lie, to wanting to ban us. So what Jeff Flake did was such a great thing. And I think in today's hyper-partisan world, Democrats, Republicans, we should applaud each other when you do something objectively good like this and objectively bad like spewing hate.
Mm-hmm. Andre, a recent study by the Council on American Islamic Relations shows that hate crimes against the Muslim community has increased 91% in the first 6 months of this year compared to the same time period last year. What does that tell you?
Well, you know, again, I look for the shining part of this. This is what America's about: respect and decency. I mean, you know, Bakari Sellers, you have on your show a lot. He and I are great friends. You know, we duked it out when we were in the legislature. We had different views, but at the end of the day, we were still friends and we still respected each other. And so I admire the senator for standing up for what potentially could be his opponent. And I try to find the good, that not everybody's bad. And she's right. You got to get some thick skin when you're in politics. You know, many times when I do your shows, immediately afterwards, I look at my Twitter, Instagram, and the people are beating me up left and right. And so it does come with politics. It's not always about just religion. But they always are going to find something to come at you negative with. And fortunately, we still have good folks like Deidre that are willing to run for office.
Do you have people wanting to run you out of the country, or saying that you're not an American, that you don't belong in this country, or putting up pictures of...
Don, they don't say that, but they say things that are hate-filled. They say things about killing me, or I don't belong here, or, you know, all the things in my heart that they know.
But specifically, Andre, let's be real. When you look at the first 6 months of this year compared to the same time period last year, that hate crimes against the Muslim community has increased 91%. What do you say to those people? What do you say to people who maybe knowingly or inadvertently fueling some of this hate against Muslims?
But the good thing is that we have a process whereby that people that do these hate crimes are prosecuted. And so it's good that they're now keeping tabulations on these, and I hope that that law enforcement will go forward with prosecuting folks that are committing these crimes.
Mm-hmm. What do you say, Dean?
Well, what I would, first of all, there's been a horrible spike. There's been, I think, 4 or 5 mosques burned down since January, or at least the victims of arson. You've had women in hijabs punched. And you even had it prior to this. Let's be honest. It wasn't like this all happened during the Trump administration. A man was just sentenced last month for 19 years in prison for going to plot to kill Muslims in Islamophobic, New York, and that happened under Obama. But thanks to Trump, unfortunately, we've seen a spike in people emboldened to spew hate. I've never seen the level of anti-Muslim and
you think you can directly... that this directly connects, you can connect that directly to...
I think when the GOP nominee, and now the President of the United States, when that person becomes president, who said things, literally, Islam hates us, who literally said thousands of Muslims cheered on 9/11, who literally said, I want a total complete shutdown on Muslims, what message does that send to his followers? And again, every president since the 1990s had a Ramadan event at the White House during Ramadan. Trump is the first one not to have one. That's a deliberate message to his supporters that Muslims are not part of the fabric of this nation, that he views this nation as not including us. That's a dangerous message. And Andre's right. There is a silver lining here. Jeff Flake was really great in here. And I wish other Republicans, especially Donald Trump, would speak out and say stuff against us.
I was going to say, maybe he will tweet about this, the injustice that she faced.
Maybe.
As a Muslim American.
And you know, that's not the first Republican you've said something nice about. You said something nice about me this past weekend.